now a community-owned, trust-owned football club. It's a fantastic day for Wrexham Football Club. It's the end of one journey, and of course it's the start of another journey. I think you're going to hear that. If you want to ask them in here, great. There's an announcement to be made as well in terms of the people who are sitting on this table, and if you want to talk to individuals later on, that opportunity will be afforded you as well. The doors are open to get out pitch side if anyone who wants to go and do any stuff out there a little later on. If you want to stay in the warmth, that's fine. So to Spencer, thanks.
Okay, good afternoon everybody, and thanks for coming along. There was a couple of purposes really of the press conference this afternoon, one of which was to formally announce the change of ownership, and as part of that pay tribute to some of the people who've helped make that possible. Also, as BRYN said, another part of that was to introduce some of the members of the team who are going to help take Wrexham FC forwards. One of the members of the team who will help take us forwards, but unfortunately isn't here, is Andy Morell. Andy's on the coach down to Brentford, so unfortunately he couldn't join us, but he has shared with us some words that he'd like us to read out on his behalf, so that he could, in mind if not in body, take part in the conference. Andy said, I wanted to say how delighted I am that the takeover has been completed. I'm really looking forward to working with the Trust and the new board of directors to make the club successful both on and off the pitch. I'm sorry I couldn't join you as I'll be travelling to Brentford with the first team, but wish the new owners all the best. So that's those are the words of Andy Morell. With the change of ownership, I think it's fitting and proper that as a board of the Trust that we pay tribute to a number of people, but I think we need to start with the staff of Wrexham Football Club. Both the staff, Andy and his management team and the players have been fantastic throughout what has been one of the most difficult periods in the club's history, and we wanted to pay tribute to that group of individuals who kept this club going and have managed not only to keep it going but have elevated us to, as we sit, top of the conference and on course for what we hope will be a swift return back to the Football League. I'd also like to thank the FA and the conference for sanctioning the deal, but in terms of the conference, we wanted to make a special mention for Bill King, who's the president of the conference, and for the work and support that he's been giving us throughout the process. Also, it would be remiss of us not to mention Glendower University. Glendower University are tremendous and what we believe will be excellent partners for Wrexham Football Club as we go forward into the future. No football club survives without its fans. Fans have been the lifeblood of this club. They've kept this club going over the last 10 years through some really difficult times, and we've been absolutely inundated with levels of support and good wishes from fans, and we just want to pay tribute and thank you to all those fans who have really willed this deal to get over the line and help make it possible. And out of those fans, people have, from the smallest contributions, buying merchandise or maybe making a donation, through to some of the bigger things like I joined 120 people who took over the top of Snowdon back earlier on this year in some of the most horrendous weather ever. We want to pay tribute to those. In terms of the Trust itself, we want to thank some of the previous members of the board, both recent and the people who actually founded the Trust some 9 years ago. If it hadn't been for all of those people's work, not just the guys who are here in front of you today, this wouldn't have been possible. Special mention, I believe, should go to members of the WST bid team, of which I was really proud to be a part, and people like Rob Parry, Richard Owen, Gavin Jones, Mark Williams and Pete Jones deserve a special mention, along with the remainder of our board members, some of who are here today, like Chris Wright, Brian Cameron and John Mills. We're really proud to work with those guys over the last 12 months and have been critical in making this happen. Thankfully now the bid team has been able to, if you like, fall by the wayside, because we said some months ago we believe we can do it, and here we are, we've done it, but now we have to make it work, and that's critical. So I'm going to hand you over to the chair of the trust, who's going to give you an update on the team, who's going to take Wrexham FC forwards, and then we'll get into some questions and give you an opportunity to sort of take this in the direction.
Thank you, Spencer. We felt it was important moving forward as a trust board to appoint an experienced and professional team to take the club on a step. As Spencer said, we've worked extremely hard as a team, and he's given tribute to the people here today and others on the board. But going forward, we recognise that we need more skills, more people to make this club a success. And I'm delighted to introduce some of those people today. We have Don Bircham here, who's the Managing Director of a very successful travel firm in North Wales. We have Mark Williams, current board member, Treasurer, and also Finance Director of one of the fastest growing companies in Wrexham. Spencer Harris, who's European HR Manager for a blue chip firm. Alan Watkin, to my right, who's the former Chief Officer at Wrexham Council. And of course, Mr. Barry Horn, on Alan's right, will need no introduction to you at all. So we have a fantastic team here to take the club forward. It's a strong team, it's an experienced team, and it's got the right skills and a blend of skills to take us forward. And I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Alan, Barry and Don to the team, and I'm confident that they're going to make this club a big success. And of course, it would be remiss of me to not mention Gavin Jones, who isn't here today. He's our secretary. He's also going to become a director of the new club. Thank you. Okay, so I'll hand over now to
BRYN.
We'll open it up now. If anybody's got any questions you want to ask now, feel free to take the opportunity. Otherwise, we'll break, and you can pick out any of the guys on top table here who you fancy having a word with.
Can I ask, a few months ago with the £100,000 that was lent by fans, what's going to be happening to that cash?
Our understanding is the conference have a meeting on, Dave said in the statement they've got a meeting on December the 12th, and they haven't given us any indication yet of what is happening with that money as of yet. But we do understand from the previous owners that that is to be returned on completion of the deal. But again, we do make a decision from the conference at this time.
Because is it being held as a bond?
It's held as a bond, yes.
So it's held as a bond at the moment, and you're waiting for a decision from the
Yeah, we're
conference?
waiting for a decision, yes.
Can I ask you again? How much money is there in the pot for players?
In terms of the taking the club forward, what we're going to need to do is sit down with Andy Morell. We've already started those discussions, but we need to sit down with Andy and work out what it is that we can facilitate in our overall budget, and we'll do that over the coming days and weeks with a look to how we're going to conclude the remainder of the season. What it would be remiss of me not to say is that the current team aren't doing half bad. So in terms of have we got the right personnel, we currently sit proudly on top of the Blue Square Premier. I think we've conceded the least goals, we've got the best goal difference, and we've got the most points. So that probably tells its own story.
Is there a priority then to sort contracts out for Andy, Billy Barr and the few players who are out of contract at the end of the season? Is that the
Yeah,
priority?
in terms of things, what we need to do as a club, we need to put in place and formalise another key position within the club, which is that of, if you like, the leader of the employees in the team, which is the CEO position. We're in the process of doing that. once we finalise that position, it's only right, and we anticipate doing that in the short term, it's then we would involve that person in, you know, the management of the club and some of those critical decisions. So that will be our next step, and that should happen in the coming days.
Just to clarify, that's to appoint a chief executive in the coming days?
Yes, in the coming days.
So okay, if I ask,
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. With the issue of on match day, you know, if people buy a pie or a drink or anything like that, where do the proceeds go to? Say if I buy a pie on match day, does it go to the trust? Does it go to Glyndŵr, or what's?
All the kiosks are provided by Glyndŵr, so they're responsible for actually maintaining them, buying all the stock, and then therefore they collect the revenue. But any proceeds that they get from that will be reflected in what contribution the football club pays for the use of the facilities. So all of the money will be banked by Glyndŵr. They're responsible for accounting for it, employing all the staff, paying the staff. There'll be a contribution reflected in what we'll have to pay going forward for the use of the facilities.
So do you pay a contribution to Glyndŵr? Do you?
Well, obviously to use the facility, we can't just use it for nothing. So that process, we're concluding that will be the next part. Now the deal's done, we can sit down with them now and as owners and agree everything.
Is there a plan in place yet to tackle sort of the finance issues, or is that being planned out?
Okay, in terms of the overall, you know, what we're going to do with the club, there's a couple of things, if you like, two phases that we're going to adopt as a board and as a trust. There's an interim phase which we call an acquisition phase, and then there will be a following phase called ownership phase. Acquisition will last between now and the end of the year, and will be, if you like, put in place some interim measures for us to be able to run and govern the club. And us guys here as a board will be part of that interim solution. What we need to do as the WST is we will go to our members with a formal governance process as is, and get them to vote and agree based on some proposals that we're going to put to them, so that we've got a final governance process that will probably come into play from the start of next season now. As part of that interim piece, we will need to review everything that happens within the club, you know, and talk to and work with the current employees to look at ways in which we can manage cost and ways in which we can increase revenue. And there's some key messages in terms of the increasing in revenue. You know, we've got we need the support of the local community, be it fans, be it businesses, if we're going to make this a success. So even down to, you know, what's relatively small things, our home game against Southport on the 6th of December, we don't currently have a match sponsor. We need people to start getting behind the club, and we need to significantly increase revenue. Part of our business plan was to launch a Red or Dead campaign, and that is a significant campaign for us. And at the heart of that campaign is a community shared issue. I'll turn to my finance guy to say how much we've got in that currently.
At the money's held by our solicitors, Cobbett, in an escrow account. It currently stands at 35,000. It was the last things we had up from. So again, that will be, and a mail shot is going out to all our members as we speak. Should be landing tomorrow, if not this morning, publicising that actual scheme.
It's absolutely vital that people help this football club. The next 6 to 18 months are going to be a very challenging time for the club in terms of we need to make it work financially. You know, you only have to look at the history of the club to understand where the finances have been, and we need to do something different. And we need to make sure that when we come out at the other end of this, we've got a healthy sustainable football club that we can all be proud of. That's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be an easy task. It won't always be popular, but it's something that we're fully committed to doing, because Wrexham Football Club is bigger than me, it's bigger than anybody on this table. It's the absolute thing that we need to survive for future generations to come, and we're fully committed to doing that. But as I say, you know, it's about looking at revenue, where we can get revenue in, but it's also about managing cost. We have to, for fans, the sorts of things that fans can do now. What can I, if I'm a fan, you know, what can I do now? I can be looking to put on a fundraising event. I can make sure I come to the matches. I can join the Supporters Trust. Currently, only around 40% of our home gate is a member of the trust. You know, we'd love to see that up at 100%. You know, really drive through bigger membership, because at the end of the day now, as fans of Wrexham Football Club, fans of Wrexham, you own your club. It's your club, it's nobody else's, it's yours, and it will prosper or it will wither based on what we do as a set of fans. And I truly believe that collectively we have the right capabilities within our membership, we have the right capabilities within the wider fan base, that we can take this club forward. And football isn't all about finance. It is in terms of stabilising a club, but if football and being successful in football was just about finance, Swansea City would not be a Premier League club. You know, we are firm believers that through being highly organised, we can have a competitive advantage, and we plan to be highly organised.
Can I ask about the relationship with the Crusaders? Are you in discussions with the Crusaders?
In terms of the Crusader, that is a separate trading entity. In a past guise, Wrexham Football Club and the Crusaders, as was, that business is finished. That business was ended a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
We have met, I think we've met with Crusaders.
Yeah, we have met with the new company and the people behind the new company.
But that was prior to their approval by the Rugby League, sanctioning them a licence as well. So we haven't met since we both have been approved as owners now.
In terms of where they were both in the same stable as it was in the past, they are now two separate trading entities. So there's no other relationship other than that.
Because I was at a meeting with Crusaders about a month ago, and they were emphasising that they were very keen to develop a strong relationship with Wrexham. Would you sort of echo that? Or?
Anything that promotes sport in North Wales has got to be good. You know, but we're here primarily. You know, what we're interested in at this point in time, what we have to do is make Wrexham Football Club successful. And success is, you know, is about being financially sustainable. It's about playing football at the highest possible level we can play football. But it's also about community, because there's so much more that a football club can give back and involve its local community. And you know, we're very lucky that we're starting to build some partnerships, both, you know, in the disabled world in Wrexham. You know, we need to start using Wrexham Football Club for the greater good, and we need to give back to the community from which we take.
Yeah, we very much see the football club as the heart of the local community, and any organisations who have similar aims and objectives to ours, we're more than happy to work with.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else? As I say, the chaps are all here and available for the next 20 minutes or so. So if you any more you'd like to ask on an individual basis, please feel free. Just to sum up, thanks everybody who's come. There is a positive message, as you've been hearing very eloquently put here. We want to involve everybody. It's it's the football club that puts this town on the map, I still feel. There were many other facets of life in Wrexham that were recognised further afield, but I'm afraid slightly over the years they've tended to drift away a little. But if you do mention Wrexham to anybody, they do know the football club, and if we can put this club back where it rightfully belongs again, I do think that has a massive benefit for the area as a whole. I'm sure many people will recognise that, and I think we do have the opportunity now to really seize onto that and tap into that and push both Wrexham and push the region, push the area North Wales as well, and it can be very much an enjoyable experience along the way. So we look forward to starting that process, I guess, from today onwards. Thanks again for coming.